Well, hey everybody, and welcome to our show, which
Yep.
we have not named yet. No doubt by the time this posts, we will have a name, but right now we're not going to call it anything. I'm Daniel Epler, one of your hosts for the show. This is my amazing co-host, possibly the best co-host ever, Seth Garrett.
Am I co-host? Are we both co-hosts?
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
of course.
Cool.
We're definitely both co-hosts. So really what we're going to do with this show is we're probably primarily going to talk about movies because it's something we're both really, really passionate about. Would you not say?
I'm a film major at a local university, so I love movies. This guy maybe more. I don't know yet. We'll find out.
Well, I'm not a film major.
I know.
just
I like
really
making movies.
Yeah, I like watching movies.
I'm watching movies. That too. But also, we could branch off into other stuff like video games, which he hates. Whatever. Oh, and hate's a strong word,
everybody
but
hates me all of a sudden. I don't hate video.
He's not Jimmy Kimmel.
I have no problem with video games. I just don't play them. I'm really bad at them, like crazy bad.
It's like Uncharted.
I did like Uncharted. Uncharted is the only game I played all the way through, and I did enjoy it.
It's great. Last of Us is the best game of all time, though.
That's what I hear.
So we could branch off into a variety of stuff, but mainly film and a little bit of TV, maybe as well. I'd be more TV, but
I don't watch a lot of TV either.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a film purist, I guess. I don't know. I watch some TV occasionally. I do love Parks and Recreation.
I just consume all the media.
Okay, so the main purpose of this episode right here is we're going to be talking about our top 5 favorite films. And I'm always really, really fascinated by this kind of discussion because it's so incredibly subjective. And in no way are we both going to be giving a list of the top 5 greatest films of all time because that would be boring. You don't want to sit there and listen to us academically talk about Citizen Kane.
Goodfellas, maybe.
And Goodfellas is
which I have not
amazing.
seen yet. I know.
Actually, okay.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, Goodfellas is not on my list, but it was so close.
Okay.
It's an honorable mention. But anyway, we're talking about our top 5 favorite films, and these are movies that are really, really personal and special to me, and I'm sure the same is for you. Mm-hmm. And this is great for the first episode because you can kind of learn what our sensibilities are with movies. But what I thought we would do, first of all, before we get into it, since this is pretty casual, is maybe just talk about the movies we've seen lately. One movie that we've both seen lately, I think we can both talk about, is Turbo Kid.
Turbo Kid.
What did you think of Turbo Kid?
So good. I loved it. I mean, you've seen more like 80s films than I have. He showed me Jean-Claude Van Damme, which is amazing. But I say it's a great, fun throwback. I love the music. I love the characters. It has a better romance than most romance movies, probably.
It does.
So good. I don't know. What'd you think?
I love Turbo Kid. Turbo Kid is one of my very favorite movies of the year, possibly favorite, but I'm not here to rank 2015 movies right here, but I love it. By the way, I did find out the opening song is by a guy named Stan Bush, who also did the song Never Surrender in Kickboxer.
He did that?
It's the same guy.
Of course
I'm
he did.
so excited.
Of course
I didn't find out what the song's called yet, but I'll figure it out. But yeah, Turbo Kid is really, really special. I mean, I really liked Mad Max Fury Road, but I like this movie more because it's like Mad Max with the apocalyptic situation and I would say it's even more violent. It's crazy over-the-top violence, but it's sentimental and it's romantic and it's really special. And those are all things that really spoke to me. And I really have no complaints about it.
It's inspired by Mad Max too, and it's probably better. Yeah,
I think so.
Subjectively,
I don't know if it's better. I like it more, and I do love Apple, and she may be my favorite movie character of the year. I don't know, but she's amazing.
And her name's Apple. That's on the nose.
Yeah. Have you seen anything
Spoiler
else?
alert.
That's
What?
true. Have you seen anything else lately?
Song of the Sea. It's a beautiful animated movie by Tom Moore, I believe is his name.
Okay.
Honestly, I love the animation. It is great. It's like you are watching a movie in like storybook or just like an animation you'd see like on old stained glass windows, if that makes sense, or old walls. It's really good. Very simple, but it's like a fairy tale. It's not the typical like Disney point A to point B type of story. It's more not straightforward. It kind of glances along different paths, and it focuses on the characters too a lot, which is very interesting. But beautiful movie. Recommend it like crazy. I love the animation. It's a good throwback, and seriously, it's on Amazon Prime. You should watch it. It's really good.
Yeah, I watched like 15 minutes of it, and the DVD I rented stopped working.
Couldn't handle it.
There was some kind of weird nick on it. I don't know, but it wouldn't work anymore. But I need to get a different copy of it because, I I hear it is really good. It did get nominated for Best Animation
and
year
it
at the Oscars.
lost Big Hero 6.
Yeah.
It's a
Disney
shame.
shelling out the money. Oh, we're not making any accusations.
I originally wanted How to Train Your Dragon 2 to win, but I think maybe this movie. I'm not sure though. I love them both.
Yeah, is it an Irish film?
Irish.
Okay.
I think it could be New Zealand.
New
It might be Irish.
New Zealand is so great.
I don't know.
Turbo Kid is a Canadian and New Zealand film, and What We Do in the Shadows is New Zealand, which is another one
I need
of
to
my
see
favorites
that
from this year.
I need to see that.
Yeah, there's some good stuff. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
I don't think so. Yeah, I've just watched random stuff, but that was my number one for like the past long time.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
I've seen some things.
I saw stuff.
Okay. I'm going through this horror movie phase. I feel like I'm educating myself on horror because I've always liked scary movies, I guess, but only recently have I really been diving into the genre and watching a lot of the classics I'd never seen and going through the franchises I had never gone through. And I just feel like I'm really educating myself on it. And I'm going through the Halloween series.
Yeah.
And, I don't think I'm a big fan of the series as a whole. Here's the thing. I love Halloween 1 like everybody else in the world. Mm-hmm. I love Halloween 3 a lot. Like, I'm such a big fan of it. But one of the reasons I'm such a big fan of Halloween 3, I think, is it doesn't have Michael Myers. And I'm not a fan of the Michael Myers mythology.
Mike Myers.
And the way the series goes in these crazy directions. It's nuts. I mean, 2 gets a pass from horror fans a lot.
Okay.
I don't think it's very good. 4 has things to like about it for sure. But the ones I really want to talk about are 5 and 6. 5 is horrible. It's so terrible.
Well.
Like, if you've never seen Halloween 5, you need to Google what his mask looks like in this movie. If you know what Michael Myers looks like in the original Halloween, and you look at the mask in 5, it's one of the worst looking things I've ever seen in
like
my life.
Something a 15-year-old would wear for Halloween, like if his dad was on a budget and had to buy like a mask real fast.
Yeah.
It's like you drop it off at a Halloween party. Here you go, son, and that's what it looks like.
Yeah, because I showed it to you. It's bad. But it's a bad movie, but it's so crazy in some ways that it's kind of entertaining. Here's something about me is I can really appreciate it if a movie is willing to go nuts, which is what Halloween 3 is. But 5 doesn't fully do it, but 6 does. 6 is insane, and 6 is where the mythology really goes crazy, and I did like the crazy directions it went in. If you've seen the series, you know exactly what I'm talking about, where he's like the creation of this evil cult. I don't know what's going on. But here's the thing. Here's why I don't like it so much. I'm also going through the Friday the 13th series, and I'm a lot further along in that. I've gone through 1 through 7, and I'm a fan of that series.
Okay.
Like, it's dumb, it's ridiculous, I know, but it's so much fun, and it's dumb in kind of a charming way, but I don't think Halloween is. Halloween, I think, takes itself too seriously. Yeah. And I'm kind of tired of Dr. Loomis ranting on about how Michael Myers is pure evil and we need to stop him and he's leading the cops and blah, 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 and I'm tired of it. But the Friday the 13th are just willing to be silly and fun. And they're not taking themselves seriously, and I like it.
And I think my favorite horror is comedy horror because one of my favorite comedy movies of all time is Cabin in the Woods, which is super meta, super crazy and fun, and I'm a Joss Whedon fanboy. Even though it's directed by Drew Goddard, it was written by Joss Whedon as well. It's really fun, and I just recently watched New Nightmare as well because of Wes Craven's passing. I really wanted to see it for a long time. So good. I really love that movie. I guess I love the subgenre of comedy horror as well. Like,
it's great.
Evil Dead as well. So good.
Oh,
I love Evil Dead so much. Bruce Campbell he's the man. He's
Absolutely.
the man.
Yeah, and Wes Craven is something I want to mention. Just I was really bummed out by that. I got a text from you about it while I was at work, and it hit me pretty hard. And I realized after he died, he's kind of so important to me, and because I love the original Nightmare on Elm Street so much. That's my favorite slasher film ever made. In fact, it's not on my top 5, but it could be like top 10. I don't know, but I really love that movie. But I started going through some more of his movies. We watched New Nightmare. I won't talk about this too much, but I did watch Last House on the Left, which is a movie I did not want to watch.
Yeah.
For a long time, but I decided I don't know, I felt like I owed it to Wes Craven to watch where he started. And I watched it, and it's amazing how out of the box he thinks, because that was made in 1972.
Yeah.
And horror films were just not like that in that time. And what happened was somebody just gave him some money and said, hey, go make a horror film. and he made it, and it got a violent reaction from audiences.
Yeah.
People were very angry about how outrageous that movie is, but it's interesting. Real quick, I watched Vampire in Brooklyn, which is a vampire comedy horror starring Eddie Murphy as a vampire.
Okay.
That he made. It's not very good. I don't think it's as bad as people say it is. Here's the surprising thing. Eddie Murphy is so much better at playing a suave, cool vampire than I ever would have thought he could be. I thought he was actually good in it.
Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Cool.
Anyway, so that's what we've watched lately. So yeah, we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite movies of all time. And I toiled over this.
Not in particular order. For me, at least, I don't think
mine are in order.
Oh, I can't. Yeah. I can't do order. I don't think.
That's
I'll
fine.
I'll try.
That's fine.
Okay.
Do you have like a number 1 though?
I have like a number 2.
That's okay.
Okay. I could choose something. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. Yeah. I mean, it's a tough thing to come up with. I mean, I'll say this: 2 films that in different times in my life I have called my favorite movie are not on the list. And
okay.
I don't know. People, as movie viewers, we change and we evolve, and that's good. You know, if you're not evolving as a movie viewer, you're just staying stagnant as a person.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we change, and this list could be different in a couple of years. It could stay exactly the same. I don't know, but these are 5 movies that are really special and personal and important to me. Why don't you go ahead and start with your number 5?
Number 5. Okay, I just recently thought this because it was not in my top 5 at all when I first saw it, but I've been toiling over it, like you said, as well, and I just recently watched a lot of it again because in my film class. And from a technical perspective, it is just a phenomenal movie, and it's beautiful. And that movie's Drive, which I got right here. Okay, wow. It's so weird how some movies can make thousands of people die, and you just feel like it doesn't feel like much. But this movie makes your heart pound, and you feel just crazy tension just from a cop across the street just looking at you. Even though sometimes he may do bad things because he helps criminals and because he's a getaway driver at night, you feel a lot from him, and he doesn't say much either. But you feel like you want him to succeed. And later on down the story, he kind of develops a romantic connection to his neighbor, and he kind of gets thrown into this big plot, this big scheme to try to help her out of the situation with her ex-boyfriend, I would say. It's current husband. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Oh, I forgot that then. Well, Oscar Isaac though plays him. He's great too. He's very, very scary, but he's a great actor, and I love him. And he's actually a lot bigger now. I think I first saw him in that movie personally.
I think me too.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
really good. I love Ryan Gosling. I think he can do great comedy too, and really good drama. He's a great actor. Overall, the technical aspect of it, the editing, especially in the opening scene where he's trying to get those 2 guys that robbed the I think it was like a steel plant or something. He was trying to get them away, and just every second, every shot was beautiful. It was framed right. They used a lot of what they call the rule of thirds, where they place everything in like certain vectors on the screen. It's beautiful. I mean, I watched videos about it, and I've watched it numerous times. But you can always see like one thing's happening on like the top right, another thing's happening right here, and they use a lot of shadows and lights really effectively, but without sounding drolling on and stuff. It's really good. It's great. So
yeah, I'll pass it. It's a movie that wasn't received super well by audiences when it came out, because it was really marketed as something it was not. It was marketed as an action movie. And while it does have 2 car chases that are incredible, one that's really high octane and one that's a lot slower in the beginning but is really intense, it's not an action movie. It's a quiet, very methodical sort of film. Yeah. It's an art house movie, honestly. And it's amazing that it's gotten as much recognition as it has, I think, really because it got more of a wide release than maybe it should have, because a lot of, I don't want to sound pretentious here, but maybe a lot of mainstream viewers were ready for that sort of thing. And it's very interesting. Every time I watch it, I'm totally sucked into it. So that is a good pick. And one thing I do want to say real quick that I like about it, I don't feel like Oscar Isaac's character, the current husband, we established that. Yeah. I don't feel like he's demonized in that movie. Okay. And I feel like he's presented as a real guy, and I think he does care about his family. He's really caught up in a world that he's trying to break away from. It's
just his personality. Like, he cares about her, but he is so embroiled in what's going on currently that he kind of tosses her to the side a little bit, I would say. And Ryan Gosling's, he's there to pick up the girl,
Yeah, and even though Ryan Gosling... He's a character I don't think he's 100% all there. He's not the smartest guy in the world. And even though he cares a lot about what's that actress's name?
Carey Mulligan.
Carey Mulligan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of her, by the way.
Yeah.
And I forgot her name. Even though he really cares about her character, I don't feel like he's ever angry or disliking towards Oscar Isaac. I feel like they sort of have a mutual respect.
Yeah, they have a few moments together. He although he's silent a lot of the time, obviously, if that's his character.
And that really became like stereotypical Ryan Gosling after this movie.
I'm Ryan Gosling, I don't talk much, I just
That's
drive.
Marlon Brando.
I know, well, my accents aren't great. I can only do 2, so I'm sorry about that. But, it's good.
It is.
I love it.
Okay, are we done? Are we ready for my number 5?
Yeah, 5.
Okay, my number 5. You're not gonna understand this,
Okay.
and let me just preface here. I'm not joking. A lot of people refer to this as a movie that's funny because of how cheesy it is. I don't appreciate it in like a so bad it's good, and I know a lot of people do. I really, really love this movie so much, and it's Point Break.
Oh, okay.
Point Break is my number 5. Point Break, I've said for a long time, is my favorite action movie, and I love action movies. But here's the thing. My favorite action movies, what I really love is cheesy 90s, 80s action. I mean, I just love that. And Point Break for me is perfect. And I don't view it ironically. I don't view it like it's funny because the acting is bad or whatever. I love every second of Point Break. I love all of it. I love Patrick Swayze. I love
Gary
Keanu
Busey.
Reeves. I love Gary Busey.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Lori Petty, who plays his love interest, but she's fine.
She's something.
She's fine.
Yeah.
I don't mind her. I know Keanu Reeves' performance is not that great, but I love it.
An FBI agent.
Yes, Johnny Utah. And it's the movie where he says the word lame-o in a serious conversation.
He's Keanu Reeves, which is weird because he can be a really good actor in some things too.
Yeah.
And he flip-flops, but I like him a lot. I love him as an actor.
Well, I think he's developed a lot.
Yeah,
And he wasn't at the point he is now during Point Break. But Point Break is still my favorite movie with Keanu Reeves. Spoiler alert. None of my
John
other picks
Wick.
have Keanu Reeves in it.
Okay.
Yeah, and I toiled over the number 5 pick quite a bit, but I put this on last night and I watched part of it, and I love all of it. And even though Keanu Reeves' performance, it's cheesy, I know. I think Patrick Swayze is incredible in this movie. I think he's really, really great.
He's great.
He has so much charisma. I love the action scenes. I love the chase scene through the neighborhood. Remember when Patrick
Threw a
Swayze
dog
throws
at you.
a dog at him?
Well, also the skydiving scene I think is ahead of its time. It's really
great.
good.
Yeah.
Because I've Kingsman, which is another movie I love. They filmed a lot with body cams, I believe, and they obviously brought a camera with them as well. And there's real skydiving scenes, but they filmed it with. I don't think they had the technology to make that much more smaller than they do today. And so they really filmed that well, and it was a great scene.
It's a really great scene. I also really love the score. I think the score is really relaxing. I really love to listen to it, and Catherine Bigelow, I think, did an incredible job with this movie. I'm not as big a fan of anything else she's done because I feel like she got really, really serious,
Yep.
which is fine. It's just not so much my thing. But Point Break, I am super passionate about that movie. I just love it.
Man, break the point. There you go. Okay. Well, is that?
Yeah, I think so. Point Break.
Oh, number 4. I know a 3, 2, 1, but I don't. I want to say this because I'm so passionate about it right now, but I don't know if it's going to be true like a month from now.
Well, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
One could say that about almost any of them, I suppose.
Yeah, I it's a toss-up because I really love old school animation, like I said earlier, and I want to watch more Miyazaki movies, but because I feel like I might like him more because I love The Wind Rises, and that movie broke my heart, and I loved Spirited Away. It was phenomenal, but also Song of the Sea is up there, and I think it's one of those 3 as far as number 4. So I want to say Song of the Sea is up there.
Wow.
I know. I really love that movie.
How about that?
I love old school fairy tales, I think, because I think that's something I was really into as a kid. I watched a lot of anime as a kid, and I still do sometimes, but not as often as I used to. And I love that old school style storytelling. And I'm really passionate about the movie right now because I just saw it like 2.5 weeks ago. So it's just, I don't know, I felt really lifted up when I was watching it, and I loved the 2 characters because seeing the world in a magical light already as a kid, it's something that's like common, but seeing already something that's magical on top of a kid's imagination adding to that, if that makes sense, was just, I think, beautiful. And the animation's like phenomenal. It's very fluid, very beautiful. There's tons of clashing colors, a lot of greens and blues, and it's just really, really good. But I don't know if you can comment on it because you haven't seen it fully.
Yeah,
but I don't know.
I haven't seen it. Oh gosh, I'm even just trying to think of a.
I could almost say a Miyazaki film as well, because Spirited Away is up there too.
Yeah,
I'm really close on that one.
Well, I can comment on that one. You know, the thing with Spirited Away is that's the movie that got me into, I think, really foreign films. Is that I discovered when I watched Spirited Away that there is so much unconventional storytelling and so much things that American films will never do.
Spirits everywhere.
Yeah, that
like
foreign films
stuff.
are willing to do, and it goes in directions that I've never seen done in a film before. And I realize that's the case with a lot of foreign films because the culture is different, so you can see very, very different things. So I don't know. That might partly be the case with Song of the Sea for you. Wow.
Yeah, it's different. I really love different, but it's also familiar to me. It's magical and familiar because it reminds me of stories I really loved as a child, and I don't know. I guess it's perspective of a child too, because it's about two children. Adults are kind of second place in this story, and the main evil is an older lady. It's like a grandma. It's an owl spirit-ish.
Okay.
And it's so good. So yeah, it's really special. It's really something.
I like it when a movie focuses on kids and really treats them with respect.
It does. It really does. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get that. Okay, that's interesting. That's fascinating.
It's weird because it reminds me of Paxton and Pearl, which are my nephew and niece, because it's about like a younger boy, but he has a much younger sister, and she's like very, she can't speak, so the whole movie is through her actions, which is really cute also. And it kind of reminds me of how a boy can be rebellious because he doesn't get attention, or he thinks something and everyone thinks something else, so he kind of has to do his own thing. And his sister kind of tags along. He has to lead her through this big world. He has to trek across like an entire city just to try to save his sister's life. So it's very important, and it's very cute movie. So yeah, it's a good story.
Nice. All right. Okay. Well, my number 4 pick. Now that we're in number 4 through 1, this was easy. Okay. This was no problem, and this is a pretty clear list for me.
Yeah.
Number 4 combines 3 kinds of movies that I really love, and that's one thing I kind of wanted to put together with this list, is that each movie kind of represents a sort of thing I love. And Fright Night really represents 3 things.
Oh, okay.
Yes, Fright Night is my number 4, and it really is the original from 1985 by Tom Holland, and it is both a teen comedy, which I love. It is a horror film, and it is also a tribute to like old gothic horror films, which I love. And Fright Night isn't just about being a horror film, it's about loving horror films, because pretty much every character in the movie is a lover of horror films. You got Charlie Brewster as your main character, and he is always watching Peter Vincent's show that's always showing these old vampire movies. Evil Ed is into horror films as well. And then you've got Peter Vincent, who is an actor in horror films. And Tom Holland, the director, who seems like such a great guy. And I've listened to interviews with this guy, and he is such a passionate fan of these kinds of movies. And he made a movie about people like him.
Yeah.
And so it connects with me on that level because I love horror films so much. And even though I'm just, like I talked about at the beginning of this, recently really diving into the genre, old monster movies like from the 30s and 40s have been special to me like ever since I can remember. I've been watching like Frankenstein and Dracula and the Wolfman and stuff like that really ever since ever. With me, and it's always been a special thing with me and my dad. So Fright Night connects with me in a way like that because it's about someone like me. But it's a movie that really cares about its characters a lot because all of the characters are given so much respect even though they're just teenagers. And you've got the romance between Charlie and his girlfriend Amy, and it's not blown out of proportion to like Twilight, where this romance and we're teenagers.
I'm gonna kill myself over you. Oh.
Yeah, it's not like that, but it's not underplayed because their relationship really matters to them, and they really care about each other. And there's this moment that I love in the movie so much, and it's where Charlie is about to go in and try to kill Jerry Dandridge, the vampire, and his girlfriend's like, well, wait, let me just go try to get Peter Vincent, the vampire killer on TV, and see if he'll help you. And he turns to her and he says, you don't believe me, do you? And she just says, I love you, Charlie. And it's sort of just saying, like, it doesn't matter if I believe you. I'm going to help you anyway because I believe in you. And And then you got Evil Ed, who was crazy. And he's a crazy character.
Great.
And he's so weird. But I don't feel like the movie is ever making fun of him.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like the movie understands him and gives him even his proper respect. And when he finally joins forces with Jerry Dandridge the vampire, when Jerry bites him, Jerry's going to him and he's saying, like, I know that people make fun of you. I know that but you're different, but I know what it's like to be different too. But you can never be made fun of again. And that's when he kind of puts out his hand and joins him. So the movie has so much respect and love for its characters, and the characters are really great. I'm such a big fan of Chris Sarandon, who plays the vampire. He's awesome. And I love the practical effects. It's one of my favorite representations of practical effects ever, and I could talk about this movie for days.
Practical effects are good.
I love it. Do you have anything to say about it? Because I know I showed you this movie.
You did. I really enjoyed it. Evil Ed, I didn't think about his character from that perspective, per se. I thought he was really great, though, and he was a little bit of comedic relief. It's already a comedy in it, which I said I love horror comedy, so I really liked that movie. I loved Charlie. He was my favorite character, I think, actually.
He was great.
He seemed like a teenager of that era. He seemed like it wasn't one of those movies that blows it out of proportions, like no one believes him and he's just trying to get someone to care. It was like, they just like, okay, that's kind of crazy. It doesn't make any sense. But you really care about him and you do believe him, and everyone around him likes him. He's not really an outcast or anything, I would say.
Yeah.
He's just like a normal kid, and I really respect that. And she's great, Brewster, and his friend's the best. I really liked it. I didn't love it as much as you, but I thought it was a very fun movie, a very good movie, and the effects are great. Yeah,
they are. And the movie gets talked about how it's dated, and I know it's dated, but one thing with me is I like dated. I like it when things are so obviously of another time, and I love the music, like the cool, like, I don't know, is it saxophone? I don't know, but the really cool theme that comes on every time Jerry comes on screen. People talk about the nightclub scene and how cheesy it is. I know it is. I love the nightclub scene. I think it's so cool.
He can get any lady.
I think it's so
looking at him.
Cool. I love everything about that movie. I don't even need to say that because I love everything about all of these movies that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, Fright Night, I mean, it's a perfect representation of everything I love about horror movies. It's amazing.
All right, fair enough.
So we're on your number 3.
Number 3, yeah. Okay, this one, I'm trying to... I think this is it. I'm tossing them up a little bit. I think 1 and 2 will be harder to say.
Okay.
But this movie is very rewatchable for me, and I know a lot of people do love it. But I think I gotta go with. I wanted to say Jurassic Park at first because I really, really love that movie. Mm-hmm. But I think it's Dark Knight personally.
Really?
I really love that movie.
Wow.
Yeah. It's either Jurassic Park or Dark Knight, which is weird because. Sometimes I say Jurassic Park because I know my top 2 are not those movies, and but other times I want to say Dark Knight because whenever I watch it again, I love all the stakes, and I love the Joker. Heath Ledger's phenomenal, and I think the music adds to the tension a lot too. Every time you see the Joker, you're freaked out, you're terrified, and the really I guess high string instrument, the drone that goes on is really good. But I know every time I watch that, I'm always glued to it, and I know there's some parts that people don't like about it. Sometimes it's, I guess, like Batman almost killing people and like weird things like that from the comics that don't make sense. But I think it's great. And I think a month from now I'll probably say Jurassic Park again because I just watched that recently. Because Jurassic Park, there's so much heart in that movie as well. And I love the characters. I love Alan Grant and, of course, Jeff Goldblum because the Goldblum is the best. And I think Dark Knight, I don't know. I love Christian Bale as Batman too. I think he's great. And I'm super excited for Ben Affleck too. But I don't know. I think that movie is really something special, and Christopher Nolan, I think, put so much heart into it, which you don't see with some superhero movies today. They're kind of more, not corporate, but just fun movies. They kind of churned out. But Dark Knight was in an era before mainstream comic book movies, but also after they were still popular, so it was kind of in between. So where it wasn't super churned out, but it was still something really important, I guess. Yeah. So.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I might have a slightly complicated relationship with Dark Knight.
Okay.
It came out in 2008. I was 15. And I went to see it in the theater with my dad. And I was so impacted by it, I did not talk the whole way home, like in the car. Mm-hmm. I just didn't talk. I had to process it. I couldn't talk about it yet. I was shocked and I was really moved. And it became a really important movie for me. And you talk about how rewatchable it is. it's not super rewatchable for
I
me.
don't know. I feel I saw that coming.
Yeah.
But when I watched it again, like a few weeks ago, I was really drawn to it. I think maybe like
Yeah.
a once
I
a
haven't
year
watched it in
thing.
a while.
Yeah, it might be like a once a year
It might have been a couple
rewatch.
years for me. I haven't watched it in a while.
Okay.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I used to be such a huge fan of Christopher Nolan, and I'm not saying I'm not now, but I'm really not a fan of Interstellar. And I feel like Interstellar is every problem he has as a filmmaker amplified huge.
Yeah.
And now that I've so clearly seen all of his problems, now when I rewatch his older films, his problems are more obvious. Like, he has no idea how to represent women.
Okay.
He has no idea. And his women characters are basically always terrible. I can't think of a single time when he has been able to successfully write a female character.
I think Prestige did the best, but she still wasn't that important. I don't
I
think.
think
She was kind of just the woman.
I think it did it pretty badly, actually.
Did it do
Between
badly?
Scarlett Johansson and Rebecca Hall.
She was just the woman they kind of tossed around.
Who I would probably say his best female character is probably Ellen Page in
Oh, no, yeah, you're right. I agree with that.
And it's probably
Yeah,
because
okay.
she's not... He doesn't write her like he writes every other female character, in that she's kind of just another one of the people.
Yeah.
Which is kind of how women
Yeah.
should be written. As just
She
human
was
beings.
smart, too. They showed that
Yeah.
she could do a lot of things on her own. She was really smart.
Yeah. So I would say that's his best. I would say The Dark Knight is my favorite of the Batman trilogy, but it's the one I have the biggest problem with, which is Maggie Gyllenhaal, and that goes in the woman thing. I
can
don't
agree with
like
that.
her in that role.
Yeah.
And I like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I hear people call her ugly and stuff. That's so mean. I don't think she's ugly at
No.
all. I think she's been attractive in movies, but she just didn't know who that character was, and I thought Katie Holmes actually stepped into that character fairly well. One of Nolan's better female characters.
Yeah.
And then they kicked her out and brought in Maggie Gyllenhaal, and she felt like she had no history with Christian Bale at all.
She was the worst part about the movie. She didn't seem like she cared about Bruce. It felt like Bruce was an annoyance for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like she had to get rid of him, I would say. Because they always referenced their past, but they didn't seem sincere about it, I guess.
Yeah, she didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Bruce was always like, I want to be with you. Blah,
I know, and she
blah.
kind of felt like, oh, but I'm
got
going
this
to go
guy
with
now.
Harvey Dent now. Just stay away.
Which that's what the movie
was
really
bad.
is. It's
Yeah.
Joker and Harvey Dent. They were great parts about the movie, I think.
Yeah, and I'll say this. Maybe Batman's my favorite superhero. And maybe my favorite part of the whole Batman mythology is the fall of Harvey Dent and Two-Face. I love that storyline so well. And I really liked how they handled it in this movie. And I've always been very upset about Batman Forever. And I don't hate Batman Forever as most people do. I think a lot of it actually works. Like, I don't mind Chris O'Donnell in that movie. I really don't. I think it's the worst thing Tommy Lee Jones has ever done, and I think is the worst Batman villain of all time, is him as Two-Face. It's unbelievably terrible, and I've always been upset about that. But I thought Aaron Eckhart did a great job as Harvey Dent, and it's a terrific movie, and it probably is my favorite superhero movie.
Okay.
Honestly, it probably
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
I feel like a month from now, because I like rewatching it, but I think I can rewatch Jurassic Park more, so I might change it later because I really love it.
Yeah. I've
a
watched
good
Jurassic
movie.
Park so many times.
You showed it to me because I've only seen, I believe, some of the second one and then World before that, and then I watched Jurassic Park, and I think I've seen it like 4 times since you showed it to me about 3 months ago.
It's one of the
Yeah.
most rewatchable movies ever. For
It's
me.
really good. So I don't know, I might change, but we'll find out.
It feels like it's kind of a toss up
Yeah.
between 2 favorite blockbusters.
Because I've seen Dark Knight, I think 5 or 6 times, but that's been over, like 6 years? It came out 2008, I think?
Yeah, it came out 7 years ago.
7 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I've seen it a little bit more, but I think Jurassic Park may have more longevity, so we'll see.
But,
We'll find out.
you got to stick with your list, man.
I don't have to.
Okay, my number 3, I'm just going to say it, it's Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
And I feel like my list is finally legitimized, and
Yeah.
everyone who's like Point Break and Friday Night, like, okay, Good Will Hunting. It's
We're
a great
hipsters.
movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Good Will Hunting is my favorite drama, pretty clearly.
Okay.
Like, I'm pretty clear on that. It's my favorite drama of all time. Spoilers, my top 2 are not dramas. And I love this. Is this on your list?
It's on my list. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's just talk about it.
Okay. It's my. I was gonna say number 2 probably.
Okay,
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Let's
Okay.
just talk about Good Will Hunting.
Okay. Let's talk about Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, Good Will Hunting. This is a movie I have never not been into watching it. Like, you know, sometimes you'll maybe catch a movie on TV, or you'll put on a movie and you'll be like, I'm kind of not into this. Maybe you'll play on your phone. Maybe you'll do stuff during it. I put on Good Will Hunting several times while doing stuff, and I stop doing whatever I'm doing. I just sit down and watch it. It sucks me in every time. Okay, the first time I remember I saw this, a friend of mine let me borrow his DVD, and it was the middle of the night. I couldn't sleep. Like, it was probably like I think it was like a couple hours before daylight, so it was probably like 4 or 5 in the morning, something like that. And I just couldn't sleep. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put on this movie that they let me borrow. And I know I won't finish it, but hopefully it'll help me fall asleep.
Yeah.
And I was not tired through the whole thing. I was glued to the screen the whole time. And I remember by the time it was over, the sun was just starting to come up. And I was so affected by this movie. Every time I watch it, I laugh, I cry.
Yeah.
I'm so affected by it. And I think it's a movie that's so relatable to our demographic of young men. Because I think it's about so much that we young men go through. Unfortunately, I'm not a genius. I can't speak for you. So that's not it. But I think all of us young men, we have a fear of not being successful.
Yeah.
And we have a fear of being successful.
It's not your fault.
And and that's really what he goes through is he doesn't want to try to do things because he's afraid he's going to fail and he's afraid he's going to disappoint people and people are going to push him away. But he's definitely afraid of succeeding because that's more responsibility, that's more on his back, and really, in a way, all he wants is to just hang out in his hometown and do construction work and hang out with his friend Chucky.
Something simple, something easy, something he enjoys, but it doesn't challenge him because he doesn't want to be challenged. He's afraid of that, which is understandable. I think most of us are afraid of being told that you're not good enough or you're not going to succeed at something. Yeah.
He's afraid of romance. Like, he starts to have a romance, and the romance is brilliant. It's so realistic and understated and really, really well told.
And what happened to Minnie Driver? She was in that movie. She was in About a Boy, and
she's been in stuff.
She's been in a few things.
You know what? I just recently saw her movie that came out last year called Stage Fright, which is a musical slasher film, and is actually a lot of fun. It's on Netflix Instant if you want to check it out. But she has a cameo in that movie. But I would say she's never better than in this movie. In
she's
fact,
good in this movie. Almost
everyone in this movie is never better than in this movie. This is one of the best acting movies I've ever seen from everyone. Ben Affleck is terrific. If you want to talk crap about Ben Affleck, watch Good Will Hunting.
Or The Town or anything. He's great. Yeah,
he's so good. I promise I'll let you talk eventually.
Okay.
But I love Robin Williams so much. I did not just start loving him when he died, like I feel like some people did. I don't know. But I've always been so passionate about Robin Williams. He's never better than in this movie. It's a brilliant, incredible, incredible performance. It's so realistic. It's about loss. And the thing about Robin Williams is there's always this kind of underlying sadness behind his eyes. And this is where he was able to use that the best. Why don't you go ahead and talk?
I think, I don't want to say he's underrated, but people don't really throw around Matt Damon's name enough, in my opinion. I think he's in, some okay movies. He's never in, I would say, really bad movies. He's great in the Bourne franchise. A lot of people love him for that. But I think he is honestly a top tier actor. He's phenomenal in this movie. I think he has great comedy. He throws out these great one-liners and these funny remarks because he's just a normal guy and he's having fun with his friends. But then you see him with the fight with Minnie Driver's character, and he's just so angry and so sad. But you see that in his eyes that everything he's saying he doesn't want to say, but he's scared. So he's so good, and he can show so many facets of his talent in that movie. And I love him in that movie. He's so good. And not to mention all the other talent, Robin Williams. I believe in the take with him in the park bench when he's giving him the monologue, the speech, he took that in one full take, I believe, and then they did different angles, of course. But
yeah, it is definitely it's on one take.
Very good, and he's just phenomenal in that. And there's so much emotions going on with all the characters in that movie. I feel like Matt Damon and Robin Williams' character, and they're obviously similar people, and they kind of show that they both have fun, they both sad, but they know how to read each other, and they know how to I guess bounce off ideas from each other and relate. And so you can see that because they're both different actors. They have completely different careers, but they mold together so well in this film that uses their talents, I think, to their limits, their best. Yeah.
You know, the thing with Matt Damon is I think maybe too often he just plays the generic good guy.
Yeah.
Just the straight-laced guy that you can bring home to the parents and, he's nice and everything. Maybe he does that too much, but this is the movie where he plays a character I don't think he's ever played again when he is...
I know. Yeah.
He's a brilliant, angry, upset, unhappy person. And he plays it so well. One thing Interstellar does, I don't know if it's successfully, but it does kind of play on his good guy image where he's like the best of us. He's the perfect guy, but then he's really not.
Nope, he's going to try to steal your ship and blow up in the process because he's a scientist.
Know how the vacuum thing works.
He's the smartest guy.
I'm going to open this. Oh, I'm dead.
Yeah, that's a weird plot point. Matthew McConaughey is the only one that knows how to do that. Pound ship. Murph.
Spoiler alert, none of my top 5 movies have the McConaughey.
Oh,
None of them.
all right. Well, that's funny, too, because in that movie, he doesn't care about his son at all. He only cares about Murph. He's like, oh, my son's there.
Casey Affleck,
Yeah.
who's in Good Will Hunting.
Oh, yeah, see, we made a segue. That's what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Casey Affleck, as in every movie ever, is great.
The poster's falling. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Let's not pay attention to that.
Okay, well,
Anyway, yeah, I love Good Will Hunting. I think it's really funny when it wants to be funny.
Yeah.
And I know Robin Williams did a lot of improv. Like, I think the scene where he's talking about his wife farting in her sleep.
That was
he just
improv.
improv'd it.
That was improv,
and Matt Damon's just laughing at it because Robin Williams is funny.
He's a funny guy.
I think maybe the funniest line for me, I don't know why I think it's so funny, is when Matt Damon's sitting in Robin Williams' office and he goes, I read your book. And Robin Williams says, oh, you're the one.
Was that improv too? Probably not.
know.
I love it though.
Yeah.
There's so many funny lines. I don't even know if I can quote one. I think I want to say the banter between the friends is really funny too. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Very natural.
I love this scene where he tells off that douchebag, like elitist guy.
Yes.
I love that so much. And I thought,
Michael Bolton clone.
yes, the Michael Bolton clone, because he's got his little the hoodie thing over him or whatever. I don't know.
Sweater vest? Does he have?
Douche vest. I don't know. But I laughed a lot at the part, and I don't know if it was intentionally. It's supposed to be really funny, but I thought that's what so many people want to do to people is tell them off, and I thought that was so funny that he just exploded with all this knowledge on him, and I thought that was really great. I love that part.
Yeah.
So
that's my number 3 and your number 2.
Yeah. So
that's interesting that we have an overlap, and it's a great.
It's so good. Yeah.
So I guess we're down to my number 2 now.
Yeah. Go ahead and go. Yeah.
Okay. My previous 3 movies, I don't know that they're perfect movies, but they're perfect for me.
Okay.
My top 2 are perfect movies. I'm very confident in saying. My number 2 is my favorite comedy of all time, but it's kind of a dramedy, and it's the only one on my list I'm not positive if you've seen, but it's Groundhog Day.
Oh, I've seen that.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
I love Groundhog Day. Okay.
Yeah, Groundhog Day is amazing. I think it is truly one of the very best films ever made. I think it's 100% perfect in every single way. It has one of the best messages I've ever seen given in a movie and told so brilliantly. And it basically just has a message of, okay, the film is, I think primarily I would say it's a romantic comedy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And it has the very best, I think, representation of how to get the girl. Mm-hmm. So many movies, how you get the girl, it changes a lot of ways. Sometimes they're just destined to
sleaze around, look like a, Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of different ways. But Groundhog Day, how he gets the girl is he becomes the best version of himself.
Yeah.
And he spends so much of the movie, and the movie's such an incredible character study on Bill Murray's character. And he spends so much of the movie so selfish, and he's just reliving the same day over and over, and he goes through so many cycles. Like, at first, he's just freaking out about it. Then he embraces it and just be as obnoxious and irresponsible as possible. And then he's depressed, and he kills himself over and over and over, and he's just stuck in this horrible rut. And then he finally... if it's too late to say, spoiler alert for Groundhog Day.
For all these movies.
It's very old. Just watch it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Go.
But yeah, and then he finally gets to a place where he just starts to try to become a better person.
Yeah.
And he learns new things. He helps people. He figures out for the first time ever that even though he's in a scenario where it seems like he is the only person in the universe, because like the whole, well, no, that's not the way to say it. It seems like he's in a scenario where he truly is the center of the universe.
Yeah.
Where he is reliving the same day, no one else is, and he is the only one, and everything's revolving around him. In that situation, he figures out that he is not the center of the universe, and that other people matter, and he starts helping other people. He starts saying, how can I serve those around me? And even though he tries to get the girl so many times before that, it fails every time because ultimately he doesn't deserve her and he's not a good guy.
And she's a strong character. She's not just like,
She's a
oh,
great
you're
character.
you're famous, blah blah blah. I want to be with you. Yeah, she's respectable. She's strong. I think, I don't know if you've ever thought about this, but I respect the movie so much because it shows that a girl can like fall in love with a guy in just one day through sheer affection, and it shows how great of a guy he is and how strong of a person she is. And it never feels like it doesn't make sense that she falls in love with him just for one day, because it's technically one day over and over again, because it's not happening to her. So I guess I can understand that. Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah, I love it so much. I've seen it so many times, I can't even tell you. And I'm such a fan of Bill Murray. He's probably my favorite comedic actor.
Okay.
I have to say, because he's a brilliant actor. He's not just funny, and he's so good in this movie. And this, it's by the late great Harold Ramis, and golly gee, I just love it so much.
Golly gee, yeah,
it's
me
just
too.
so darn good.
Well, this is a little bit tangent, but if you like Supernatural, there's a Groundhog Day episode of it that I think is one of the best episodes in the series. It is funny, it is sad, it has a great dynamic between brothers, and I think they pulled a lot of the kind of arc, I mean, not a romantic arc, but more of a brotherly connection arc through that in just one episode, so I thought that was really good, but I love that show.
And speaking of the Supernatural guy who plays Sam, my number one pick is the Friday the 13th remake.
Oh, yeah.
No, that's not true.
It's not at all.
That is false.
He's the best.
That is a lie. Okay, so, yeah, I guess I've said my piece. If you haven't seen Groundhog Day, don't worry about it that I just spoiled it for you. Yeah. Because you've probably already seen Edge of Tomorrow, and that's already the plot.
Edge of Tomorrow's good.
Edge of Tomorrow is amazing.
I love Cruise Control. Yeah. That's what I feel like when I watch his movies. He doesn't have one bad movie, I don't think, subjectively. Yeah.
Have you seen Legend by Ridley Scott?
Oh, I haven't seen Legend. I haven't seen Oblivion, I haven't seen Legend.
See, I haven't seen Legend, but I talked to a girl at my work recently who loves that movie, which is interesting, so I feel like I need to see it now.
It has respectable merits then. I didn't love Night and Day, but it was a diversion. I didn't hate it.
I like
You liked it?
Day. And
I was like,
and it was only after I watched it, and I was like, this is so much fun.
Okay.
And I started to discover everyone hates this movie.
I didn't hate it.
I just hated, and it's fun. It's dumb. I'm not a big Cameron Diaz fan outside of The Mask.
Me neither.
The Mask is my number one movie. No, it's not. But it's an awesome movie. So I guess we're to your number one.
It doesn't have Tom Cruise in it, but I love Tom Cruise. I'm just getting that out there. Go see Mission Impossible 5. Number one, I think you already know it because I haven't said it yet, but it's probably Looper.
Wow.
I know.
That's amazing to me.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt, even though he's not my favorite actor, I think he can mold himself into any character. He's phenomenal, but he's usually don't think of him when you think of the best actors, blah blah blah. But I think he can mold himself into almost any type of person, any character, and he's always doing that. He's choosing him to mold himself after different people, like Bruce Willis, I believe. Is it the new movie coming out where he's walking between the Twin Towers?
The Walk.
The Walk. I don't know the man's name, but
Bob Zemeckis. That's the director.
Robert Zemeckis is awesome though, and I think he can mold into so many different characters, especially like Don John too. He's a completely different person in that. Mm-hmm. But I think that movie honestly has one of the best character arcs of all time, which is saying a lot. But he goes from, even though you never feel like you hate him, a messed up, a crude, horrible person that just kills people. He doesn't really care who they are or anything like that because he's not allowed to. He's not supposed to. But he just kills them, gets his money, tells himself he's going to run away when he gets to a point where he can't do the job anymore because they're going to kill him. That's how the Looper business works, basically. But he turns into that awful man, and by the end of the movie, you believe he's this almost righteous person. He cares about everyone else more than himself. He sees that he's going down a path that he doesn't want to follow. His life has been just reckless and nothing, and he wants to help this girl and her son. And it doesn't mean the world, but he knows it means the world to her, and he cares about him a lot, and he knows that this is probably going to be the best thing he could ever do in his life. So I think it has such a good arc. He evolves so well, and it never feels like stuttered or anything like that. And the visuals are phenomenal. I've read some of the screenplay. It is so intelligent. The dialogue is natural, but it feels like it feels almost smart and offhand. I'd say a lot of the remarks are too. It's so good. Visuals, story, characters, everything really. I don't know what else I could say about it besides it's really good. Emily Blunt, the beautiful Emily Blunt, is so freaking awesome in that movie. She's a very strong character. I think she's used to playing strong characters too. I love how she is like this character that defends herself. She doesn't really like this guy. She doesn't know who he is, so obviously she takes a gun to him. But then they build a really good relationship that doesn't feel rushed either. They are both cold-hearted. They both have the world that's against them, I'd say, the weight of the world on their shoulders. She has to shelter this powerful kid that could one day destroy and kill many, many people.
It's a creepy kid.
And instead of seeing her as someone that's supposed to protect the world, you see her as a loving mother, a caring mother that just wants to help her son. You never see her as anything more than that, and yet she has the weight of the world on her shoulders. And then Joe, Joseph Gordon-Levitt's character, is just some guy that gets thrown into a situation that ends up having to help and ends up evolving from that, I'd say. So it's really good.
Yeah. Wow, your favorite movie.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be on your list, and I hadn't seen it in a while, so I watched maybe about a half hour of it today. And you're right about the visuals. The cinematography is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's shot digitally. It looks like it, but
Yes.
it's great.
Yeah.
It looks fantastic. What's always kind of surprising to me about the movie every time I watch it is it's basically a movie of people talking.
Yes.
There
which I'm okay with.
There's very little
Yeah.
action. But even though it is mostly just a movie of people talking, it is unapologetically violent to a disturbing degree.
The diner scene is so great. I love the diner scene.
Yeah, it's a great scene. But the violence is... It's just very... It doesn't go into exploitation. It just feels like they're just presenting violence in a realistic way.
It was grounded, and because everything they do is really violent. There's a lot of blood. There's a whole scene of people just dying relentlessly when Bruce Willis invades the compound. Yeah. But I guess it's unapologetic, you could say, but it's not overblown.
Yeah, and there's... It's a dark movie. There's some horrible things in that. I was again struck by this scene of Paul Dano's older self running while he's losing all his body parts.
Scene is...
Yeah, and I've seen so many horror films, and that scene is disturbing. It's horrifying. Yeah. It is, and I'm not going to say that kind of thing was never done before, because I'm not positive, but I've never seen anything like that before. Mm-hmm. And I was reading a quote from Rian Johnson where he's basically talking about he wanted to make a movie with time travel that is not about time travel. So he just spent almost no time discussing how the time travel works. There's even a line.
There's the line.
Bruce Willis is like, I'm not going to discuss this stuff with you because nobody understands.
It doesn't make sense. Which I have actually read comments on YouTube. I know I do that. It's a dumb idea. That makes me mad because people are like, that wouldn't happen.
Your comments though.
Oh yeah, of course. And I'll be sad about them or happy depending. But he's like, these people who are saying like, oh, it doesn't make sense. It's a stupid movie because time travel doesn't make sense. Spoiler alert: the ending where he's pointing the gun at Bruce Willis. People are like, why don't you just shoot him or blah blah blah. Obviously he can't, and they're like, why don't you just shoot off your hand so he doesn't have a hand in the future? And it's like, just don't be stupid. Don't try to like break down a time travel movie. One, I actually have reasons that kind of back that up. One, I think he would have almost time to prepare against that too, and he can just switch hands and a bunch of stuff. But it's time travel. Just the characters in the story. That's what I want. A good character, good story. And I'm not really a science nerd, so I'm not gonna say I am. So I don't really care about that.
As a movie about character, it's great.
Yeah.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt acts like Bruce Willis.
I didn't mention Bruce Willis either. I think I haven't liked him much recently in a lot of things.
Yeah, you're not alone.
He's downhill.
You're not alone.
I mean, when was the last time he was really good besides this, I'd say? But I love him in this movie.
Unbreakable?
I loved Unbreakable.
It might be Unbreakable.
I really like Unbreakable.
I think.
M. Night Shyamalan may be making a comeback with The Visit too.
Maybe so. I'm excited.
I don't know. I think he's really great. I think he plays kind of a persona he has played in the past, but he tones it down and makes himself more into just a sad, hardened man that just wants what he wants. He doesn't care about anyone else. He wants to save the girl he loves. So he wants to stop this man from being created, which is the boy that Emily Blunt's protecting. So it's kind of a long narrative, but it's really good, and he's great in it. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's a dark, sad, horrifying film, and it's really good.
Yeah.
It's fascinating the whole way through. I'm a big fan. Not my favorite movie, but I'm a big fan.
I like dark movies, I guess. There's Drive there, too.
Yeah, it's interesting looking at the difference of our list because you have so many recent films. I don't even have a film post-2000.
Okay.
Like, most of my films are from the 90s. And my very favorite film, my number one...
I almost chose Jurassic Park, though. Just saying.
That's true. No, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It's just different how...
Yeah, which is still relatively new, but yeah.
But my favorite film is from the 1970s, and it is Jaws.
I knew it!
Yep.
I knew it.
Jaws is my favorite movie, and it's a very conventional choice. It's a pretty common favorite movie. I know, but... I think it's the greatest movie ever made. I really do. Okay. Especially for me, it is... I actually got the chance to see this one in the theater this past summer because it was the 40th anniversary.
And I was working.
It was the greatest film theater experience I've ever had. And that is when I truly knew this is the best... This is my favorite movie. It plays like nothing else ever made. I mean, it plays so well. It is so... Okay, it's a monster movie, and I love monster movies, but it is much more a movie about three guys on a boat.
The characters, and
it's a story about guys.
I feel like that's just I say this a lot about like Walking Dead and stuff, but the threat is more motivation for the characters to advance, I would say.
Yeah.
But it's not just about the shark because he's just the threat, the evil. It's more about the guys, the characters.
Yeah. But still, the shark is horrifying.
Yeah, it's horrifying.
Ever since a kid, I love Jaws since I was very young. Jaws has been in my life forever. And I've always loved sharks. I'm so fascinated by sharks, and I love the shark in this. This is the best looking fake creature, I think, of all time in any film.
Spielberg knows how to do that, though.
It looks,
he does. Yeah.
Like, that is like a real shark. Okay, if I'm like Robert Shaw and I have to slide down a boat to go in that thing's mouth, like, oh,
you guys sure? You guys
no,
sure that's up?
We sure this is fake? And everybody knows the story that they restrain on how much to show the shark because the shark kept breaking down, and maybe that is. Well, obviously it is a bit. The movie is so good partly because of luck.
Yeah.
Because of bad luck that turned out to be good luck, and that's true.
I think it helped because it helped build tension too.
It absolutely does, and it's something that makes the film so good. I mean, the acting is great, but what really stood out to me last time, Roy Scheider is one heck of an actor.
Okay.
He plays Dr. Brody.
Yeah.
And he is so good. I mean, I really think Richard Dreyfuss and Robert Shaw, they have the showier roles, like the more actors roles where there's a lot more opportunity to shine, and Roy Scheider's more the straight man. But dang, he's so good in the movie. All of the acting is perfect. The script is fascinating all the way through. All of the dialogue is so natural, so just like human beings talking, but it's so interesting. And, and it has, I think, the best jump scares in any movie ever, because I can't even tell you how much my audience freaked out at least like two of the jump scares, including myself.
Yeah,
I've seen the movie over and over, but when like the dead body face like goes over a window underneath that one boat, like it's horrifying. Like the scares in that movie are so good, and it's definitely not the movie I've seen more than any other movie. I probably don't watch it quite as much because I love it so much and I don't want it to ever get old. Because every time I watch it, it's such an experience, and it's just so incredible, and I just love Jaws so much.
I don't know if you agree, but one of my favorite scenes from that movie is when it's Brody, right, the main character. He's talking to his son, and it's just this cute little rapport with him. It's just a dad and his son. It's kind of silence, but then you have a little bit of dialogue in there, and I think I see a lot between those, and it's one of the most grounded conversations I've seen in a movie. It's really good, which is weird because most people say like the shark or something during the heights of the movie when they're actually on the ship trying to catch him. But I think that was one of my favorite scenes. Or the beach scene. The beach scene's really good too.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of scenes on the beach.
Opening when it actually kills the first person.
Yeah.
Because there's so much tension. It's building to it.
In this movie.
There's a lot of deaths.
There's a lot of blood.
A lot of blood.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing with that scene with Brody and his son, I was listening to the Jaws soundtrack today, and when the track came on during that scene, I could place it immediately. I was like, oh, this is what plays when they're doing that thing, because that's such a special scene. And just to talk about the score real quick. The score is unbelievably amazing. And
well known, too.
So many people just think of it as da-dum, da-dum, and it does do that sometimes, but the score is so much more complex than that. There's so much going on in that score, and it's incredible. And it's the perfect hybrid of three things I love, which is character drama, horror, and adventure. And it's all those things. I would probably place it most as an adventure film. Like if I were to make like a top 5 favorite horror films, Jaws wouldn't be on there because I don't think it's a straight horror film.
Okay, yeah.
So, but I love it so much. Well, let me go ahead and ask you, were there any movies that were really, really difficult to not put on this list? Because I'm really surprised you did not have Whiplash or The Fellowship of the Ring.
I think let me try to get this. Let me get this settled in my mind.
Okay.
I think Dark Knight. I don't know. I might go back on that because I was last minute thinking, and I wanted to say movies I rewatched, but I don't know. Maybe Whiplash was in the back of my mind when I was trying to think of it because I used to say that it is my top 5.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I don't want to go back in last minute and say that. But
no, I was just asking if there were any movies you didn't put on but wanted to.
No,
I certainly have those.
I think Fellowship of the Ring is probably like number 6, honestly.
Yeah.
It's right up there.
My number 6 is probably The Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
And I used to call that my favorite movie. And I still love it. But I think What happened? No, it might not be my number 6.
You know what?
I don't know.
Throw out The Dark Knight. You made some good points. Just put Whiplash there. Just do
Oh
it.
my
Just
goodness.
do it.
Oh my goodness.
I can't choose. I don't want to choose.
Structure.
I know.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm indecisive.
Empire Strikes Back was tough not to put on the list. Goodfellas. Like, if I had, if we did 6 through 10, it would probably be Empire Strikes Back, Goodfellas, Jurassic Park, Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan.
Oh, okay.
I love that movie.
Okay.
And, oh gosh, what would the last one be? Might be RoboCop?
Really?
I don't know.
Okay.
RoboCop, I think, is a masterpiece. I don't know. There's a lot of tough ones. And Jurassic Park is great. I didn't put Jurassic Park on the list partly because I feel like I would mostly be saying the same things I'm already saying with Jaws. And I feel like that slot's already taken with Jaws.
Okay.
I don't know. But Jurassic Park it's one of my favorites. It's amazing.
I would say if you went further, I would say, Looper, like Good Will Hunting, probably Whiplash, and then...
Looper and Good Will Hunting were on your list.
No, they are.
Yeah.
But I think overall...
Revised list.
Revised. Oh, even going further than that. And obviously add Fellowship of the Ring on there because that's really rewatchable for me, which is not popular. That's actually a lot. Two Towers is probably the least favorite among a lot of people, or Return of the King probably actually, because a lot of people.
The least favorite or the most favorite?
Least favorite.
Oh, okay.
But most people don't say Fellowship is their favorite, and I love that movie so much because I love the relationship between Sam and Frodo. First off, that's the best bromance of all time. But I think it's an adventurous film. I love the adventure. I love the characters. It's obviously the practical effects are phenomenal in that movie, and I don't know where Peter Jackson went wrong with The Hobbit sometimes, but I think
that last Hobbit movie is such a
they copy and pasted the armies. They're like
a mess.
they all have the same face. But I think Elijah Wood's really underrated. He shows so much emotion. You care so much about him, and the journey they go through is one of the most grueling journeys ever. And obviously, it's just about the relationship between two friends. Ultimately, I mean, you have the fellowship as well, even though it breaks up at the end of the first movie. They're still really important characters throughout it, and they aid them in their quest. But ultimately, it's just about two friends trying to do the impossible, and I really like it for that. Yeah, I think.
I'm gonna lose more nerd cred after not liking video games. I don't really care for the Lord of the Rings.
I know
I tried
don't.
to for a long time, but finally I just reached a point where it's like, you know what? I don't care about these movies, and they're long and they're dreary and they go on forever, but they're very well made. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
I almost get teary-eyed every time I watch the end of the first one. The scene in the third one where he's carrying him to Mount Doom, obviously Mordor, and then the end of the first one where he's sad, you can't swim, and he's trying to save him. I choke up on that scene a lot, and I don't really cry during movies. I'm heartless.
That's true.
So
I cry fairly frequently.
You cried twice during How to Train Your Dragon 2.
And Inside Out.
Oh. Yep. So, yeah, that's, I think, revised a little bit. Whiplash would probably take Dark Knight place, but Dark Knight would be like in the top 10 still. Mm-hmm. And then Jurassic Park would be in top 10 as well. But it's a jumbled mess, I would say. I don't really like choosing, but those are all cool. Up there.
Not a lot of people like to rank. I can rank. Mine are Point Break, Fright Night, Good Will Hunting, Groundhog Day, and Jaws. I love those movies so much. Straight up, man. Yeah. But Goodfellas was tough not to put on the list. And you need to watch Goodfellas. I'm trying to get you to watch it forever.
Okay, I'll watch it. Actually, my hairstylist ridiculed me for not watching it today. She said, I was talking about films with her, and every film I said, she's like, oh, I haven't seen that film. And I'm talking about mainstream films. And then I tell her I haven't seen Goodfellas, and she starts ridiculing me for it. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I'm like, right. I'm sorry, you gave a great haircut. So I need to see it, I know.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you so much for joining us for our first episode. I have no idea how long this went on, but I feel like we talked for a while.
I hope not more than 30 minutes, because this only records 30 minutes.
Yeah, anyway, you can subscribe down below. We're going to try to have one of these once a week. We're going to talk about a lot of whole different things in regards to film and nerd culture and stuff like that. I'm not going to be talking so much about video games or Lord of the Rings. But, if it's involving Patrick Swayze and Keanu Reeves, you can count me in. Thanks a lot, guys.
Swayze? Come on.
See you next time.
See ya.